So we are going to start the ceremony now, and all we need is the bride and her party. Okay. And just give them a big round of applause. Come on. You look gorge. So big welcome to everyone. We are here today to celebrate Sam and Seb's marriage. We are celebrating it. They both want you to all know that they're so happy that you could make it here today to witness the affirmation of their lifelong commitment to each other. Sam and Seb chose to have a humanist wedding ceremony, wanting the freedom to celebrate their commitment in a way that's personal to them. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with that term, humanism is a non-religious worldview that looks to use evidence, our experiences and our reasoning to understand the world, while celebrating the joys of what it means to be human and supporting each other through the challenges of this. Humanists believe that we have this one life, and therefore we should make the very most of our precious time here. You may not have seen a ceremony led by a celebrant before, so I'll let you know what to expect. We're going to start by considering why this relationship works so well, because it does, and why Seb and Sam have chosen marriage. I will share with you a retelling of the story of how these two met and fell in love. And they've also selected a reading that's meaningful to them and to their relationship. And they will make personally written promises of marriage to each other. Not nervous about that at all. Anyone who knows Sam and Seb sees that they are already committed as a couple. They've got nothing to prove. So why is it then that they wanted to be married? Seb says he always imagined himself getting married. It was just something that he'd always wanted, that level of commitment. It's just that until Sam, he'd never met anyone he wanted to marry. To Sam, marriage is all centred around making that commitment. And she also wanted a diamond. So, just what is it that makes this relationship work so well? We are going to consider that now. These two have shared values of family, of loyalty, honesty, and trust. These are the very foundations of their relationship. They're pretty balanced as a couple. Both are good with money, not wanting to waste too much. But it is Sam who is fanatical about sticking to a pre-agreed budget. This is all being recorded, you know. Just like no, it's cool. It makes it. And this pre-agreed budget is with the aid of a massive spreadsheet charting all the incomings and outgoings. Very impressive. Equally, they're both tidy around the house, so there is little tension in this regard. And they know that they can rely on each other. So they've got all of this in common. These are the foundations of the relationship, but what about the differences? This is where the fun bit is. After all, this is where the spark of a relationship lives. This is where there is space for learning, for growth, for individuality and independence. And I was able to gather some of this information through playing the Mr. and Mrs. game with them, the one off the telly. That's why you've got the pink and the blue on your seats. Yeah. So I'm going to give you the chance to answer a few of the questions that I asked them both to see if you agree with their answers. So get your pink and blue cards ready. You probably sat on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got mine.
You okay? Do you feel a bit sick? Okay. Right, you ready? Obviously, if it's Sam, pink, Seb, blue. Right. And you don't cheat and put both up. I'm not accepting that. Okay, you've got to make a choice. Right, okay. Who do you think is the best driver? Oh, that's split, that. I was told Sam, and I was told that there is no explanation needed. I'm surprised at the split. Okay, right. Second one, we've got 4 questions here. Second one, who do you reckon gets the final say on what TV programme? Oh my God, there's literally 2. Right, the answer is Seb. You didn't listen to the rest of the question. Yeah. Right, Seb admits to being more picky about what they watch, and Sam's fine with anything as long as it's not scary. Yeah, you see. Who do you reckon is the best judge of character? Tricky. They said each other. They didn't say themselves.
We can't hold
They value each other's opinion, and Sam says she'll give people the benefit of the doubt too much, though. Right, last one here. Who do you reckon is the most reliable? There are more pinks. Okay. They each said themselves. Sam will remember things, and Seb will be more likely to turn up on time. Okay, right. We are going to continue to look at... Oh, keep them for one more. Okay, keep in a minute. Let's continue to look at the differences between them. There's a clear winner in the kitchen. Cooking means a lot to Seb, which is just as well, given that Sam can barely make toast. It's Seb who's better at buying presents as well. Sam says she struggles with surprises and just wants to be told what to buy. Seb also brings the optimism to the relationship, suggesting that Sam will explode if she has nothing to worry about. She agreed that she is realistic with a dash of pessimism. Apparently, there's not been a word invented yet to describe Sam's stubbornness. So it's usually down to Seb to make sure things move forward on these occasions. However, they agreed they've not really had an argument that hasn't been resolved quickly. And the arguments are normally over silly things as well. They reckon that Seb is the funnier out of the two, that he likes to clown around to mix things up a bit. That's his own words. I'm not too sure about this, though, because I heard about this time that he thought it would be hysterical to hide down the side of the bed at the end of the day, then grab Sam's ankles before she'd even put the light on. She screamed. They're all going to do it now. Watch out tonight. Seb can totally and utterly rely on Sam for all of the practical sides of their life. He knows she bases her whole existence on being practical, and she says she hasn't got an impractical bone in her body that logical gets stuff done. It's true. And maybe this is the reason that it works. So I reckon one last question, just for a laugh. Who do you think is the boss? I can't see any blue.
Is there anybody who put a blue up?
Yeah.
Oh, look, he's changed his mind. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he knows it.
Sam said she couldn't be in a relationship where she wasn't the boss, which balances well with Seb's very easygoing attitude. He tends to agree on what she suggests anyway, and she'll always run things by him first. Essentially, they have got the right amount of differences, but they're in key areas that make them really compatible. So now Sam's mum, Linda, will read a piece about being both imperfect and the perfect one. It's called He's Not Perfect and was written by Bob Marley. Woo! Come on, Linda. Go, girl. Go, Linda. Go, Linda.
This is for everybody in the room, but especially for my daughter and my son-in-law. He's not perfect. You aren't either. And the two of you will never be perfect. But if he can make you laugh at least once, if he can cause you to think twice, if he admits to being human and making mistakes, hold on to him. Give him the most that you can. He isn't going to quote poetry. He's not thinking about you every moment. He is. But he will give you a part of him that he knows you could break. Don't hurt him. Don't change him. Don't expect more than he can give. Don't analyse. That's genetically impossible, I have to say. Smile when he makes you happy. Yell when he makes you mad. Miss him when he's not there. Love hard when there's love to be had. Because perfect guys don't exist.
What?
But there's always one guy that is perfect for you. And that's Seb. And I'm proud to have him as a son-in-law.
You smashed that.
Oh, good.
Well done.
Thank you.
Linda smashed it. God, you can enjoy the rest of it now and chill. I am going to tell you the story of how our couple met. Obviously, most of you may know some of it. Some of you may think you know all of it. But I think there's something really comforting and connecting about being told a story that is already one of your favourites. Seb and Sam met online and messaged each other. Unfortunately, they were both working away from home at that point. Fortunately, it happened that they were both in London, staying at hotels just 2 minutes from each other. They went out for dinner together and both claimed it on expenses. Then they went to the pub. Seb offered to put the first drink on expenses. Sam was highly offended by this. They were thrown out at 10:30, not for being drunk and disorderly. That was just when the pub shut. Sam told me that Seb simply said bye and there was no kiss. So she went straight to bed and watched Love Island. And you would have thought that that was it, date over. But it turns out their hotel bars were still open. Seb texted to suggest carrying on with the night. They met downstairs at the bar in Sam's hotel. She forgot her purse. But somebody said just like her mother. But thankfully, Seb hadn't forgotten his wallet. And this time they stayed up till 1:30. It was a great first date. But they'd both had other great first dates that had never amounted to anything. It was the second date when they knew that this was different. And on this date, a few days later, and back on the Wirral, after a couple of drinks, they tried to find the right restaurant. And it was at this point that Seb discovered that Sam was a very fussy eater. She was pretty relaxed in other ways, though. She'd had to wear her mum's jeans, for example, because she'd forgotten to take her own to change into. And neither did she have the usual anxieties about hearing back from text messages. On the third date, which was just 9 days after the first one, Seb asked Sam to be his girlfriend. 3 weeks in, at the Florist Bar in Liverpool, he told Sam he loved her. And she said it back. And it was also around this time that they booked to go on holiday to Florida 6 months later. Just 6 weeks into the relationship, they started talking about marriage. And they honestly didn't mean to buy the ring that early on. It just happened. Sam hadn't even washed her hair that day. She was taking her nephews home, so they went to Liverpool for a mooch. And after a few glasses of champagne and a few different jewellers, the right ring found them. After first asking Sam's mum and dad, Seb set about planning the proposal. His shopping list included balloons, candles and petals. And it was a joint effort. Oscar helped arrange the petals to spell out words on the floor. Sam had been to see a couple of wedding venues earlier that day, and she couldn't work out why her mum kept crying throughout. Sam had said they'd go out with a few friends that night, so she got dressed up and went round to his. She was desperate for a wee and went to run upstairs, but she noticed the trail of petals going up the steps and started madly flapping her hands. She followed the petals right to the spot where they spelled out, "Will you marry me?" And Sam said yes immediately, and then she dashed to the loo. And it later dawned on her why her mum had been crying so much throughout the day. That was the 24th of August 2019, and they went on to have the smug satisfaction of having the holiday of a lifetime that December, just before a global pandemic broke out. Since then, they have dealt with a lot. On top of the pressures of both of them working from home, Sam had 2 operations last year and started IVF last June. They've also moved house and recently had a kitchen renovation. They've worked as a team to support each other throughout. So this brings us back to today, where all of the people important to Sam and Seb are here to witness them celebrating their lifelong commitment to each other. Seb and Sam, for the two of you, today is about making your promises in front of loved ones here, and your future together is about doing your utmost to uphold them. Before Sam and Seb affirm the exchanging of their wedding rings, they will first make some personally written promises to each other, which have been kept secret until now. So this is the first time they'll hear each other's words. Although it will only take a few moments to say these words today, their significance will last a lifetime. Okay, so do you want to stand up? So if you face each other, I'm just going to get rid of these. You take that.
Oh, thank you.
You take that. Okay, and hang on 1 second. Hang on, let's get this. Okay, I call upon everyone present to witness these vows.
When we discussed writing our own vows, like with any new task I take on, I started researching. However, I couldn't find much on how to write vows for your second wedding ceremony only 18 months after your first lockdown wedding. What I did find was lots of soppy promises for things that seemed very unrealistic and not very us. So I had to use my imagination. I know, I'm shocked as well. This isn't something I can write a formula for on Excel. So I started by asking you what things I do that annoy you the most? And thought I could start by trying to work on that. So I'll try to wash the dishes to a higher standard and more often. I'll try to make sure I've got the TV ready and dinner ready to eat with dinner on time and not lose the remote control. I'll try to keep stories concise and to the point, although I'm not too sure
big one.
how successful I'll be at that. I don't want to joke for all of it though. So I do promise to be thankful for how lucky we are to have met each other and never take that for granted. I promise to do everything I can to keep growing our little baby so we can complete our family. And I promise to love you forever because although sometimes we might annoy each other, life would be much worse without you there to annoy.
That's quite short. I went a little bit more concise than you, so... Okay, so I promise to try and keep the bathroom warm when you're ready for a shower. And I'll always cook you dinner, my one and only superpower. I'll try not to use a company credit card again, or spray curry over the living room walls. But I promise to be there for you and our family, for the good times and the falls. I'll always keep up the jump scares to keep you on your toes, and never stop with the fun and laughter. We can always use plenty of those. I'll always love Florida and the fear of roller coasters you help me beat. So I promise to never stop asking, when can we get back to the Orlando heat? Now I know in our relationship I'll rarely get to choose, so I've already accepted Sam. Heads you win, tails I lose. But I promise to never stop loving you, if you'd please allow. This is my last promise today, my one and final vow.
Do you want to come forward a little bit? Because if you stand here, Seb, face each other, yeah. Let's get rid of these. Were you expecting rhyming ones? No. That's impressive, isn't it? Okay, so if you hold each other's hands and look at each other, not me. It's tempting, I know. Seb and Sam have already exchanged rings, but will now affirm them as a lifelong symbol of their love for each other. The ring is a traditional token of commitment in marriage and is worn on the third finger after the ancient Greek belief that a vein in this finger runs straight to our hearts. So who wants to go first? Okay, so please repeat after me. I give you this ring as a symbol of our marriage.
I give you this ring as a symbol of our marriage.
And of all the love and responsibility.
And of all the love and the responsibility.
And commitment that this entails.
And commitment that this entails.
Okay, you ready? I give you this ring as a symbol of our marriage.
I give you this ring as a symbol of our marriage.
And of all the love and responsibility.
And of all the love and responsibility.
And commitment that this entails.
And commitment that this entails.
Right, I'm going to step to the side. I'm going to say to you two, now that you've affirmed the exchanging of your wedding rings and have made your promises for marriage in front of each other, in front of everyone here, all your nearest and dearest, all that remains for me to do is to celebrate you as wife and husband, husband and wife. Yeah, stand up, everyone through. Get on your feet. So, in a minute, what's going to happen is we're going to have a group shot because you're all together, so we're going to make the most of that. So these two are going to walk down the aisle, but they're going to sneak back again. And so we're going to have the big photo. And after that, after the big photo, you can make your way through the back door or at the back here. So you can either come this way or that way. And where are we heading next?
Party. Drink.
All right. Okay. We are going to have one last final round of applause for Sam and Seb.